Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome to another video. I think this is the third week that I've used this same Christmas set. So as you can tell, I really like it. This time I used the mug, and I'm using some crumb cake Stampin' Up! Paper, and I'm using my Stamp-A-Majig to line it up just right, and then I'm stamping it multiple times, and that's because it's a silhouette type stamp, and so I want really good coverage, and so I just keep my Stamp-A-Majig thing there and I just keep stamping it over and over again until I get really good, clear, crisp image. And then I'm going to take the candy cane from the same set, and I'm going to use Real Red ink. That was Pacific Point, by the way, the blue. And I'm going to stamp that on Stampin' Up! Paper, and I'm going to cut it out. There's a die that comes with it, but I wanted it to be very close to the candy cane, so I cut it out by hand. I'm using my embossing buddy to remove static from the paper so I don't get stray marks. And I'm using the sentiment from the Polar Party set, which is another Christmas set from Stampin' Up! That I've been using recently. So I'm going to stamp that with Versamark because I'm going to white emboss it. Heat it to set it. Then I'm going to just draw some faux stitching around with the Univol Signo white gel pen, which is the best gel pen. I'll have a link to it on my blog. Now I'm applying my dimensionals first because I'm going to be using the liquid applique, and it'll get smushed if I turn it over. It takes quite a while to set. So I'm going to do that in advance, and then I'm just going to cut my little, it's going to become a peppermint stick in my mug of hot chocolate. And I'm going to adhere that down. And then I'm going to use the liquid applique, which is just a pen, and it's got this liquid that comes out. And I'm just squeezing it out. You have plenty of time because it's not really going to dry very quickly. And then you use your heat gun to set it, and when you do that, it bubbles up. And so it looks like whipped cream in my hot chocolate here. And I went over the edge just a little bit, so I took my paper piercer and I just smushed it up a little. And then I decided I wanted a little bit more whipped cream, so you can always add to it. You can't really even tell, so I just add a little bit more to that top, and then I heat it again. Alright, now I'm using some Copic markers to create some shadowing with this mug. And I'm using the W family. And the tricky part, it's very tricky to color with Copic markers on this crumb cake paper. And I'm guessing it's the same way on all of the colored cardstock, but it takes a while for it to dry. And so I've become very impatient with this process because I don't wait for it to dry, so I start applying more marker and more marker. See, as you can tell, this is a darker color. I think it's W3. Now I'm going to go in with W1, and you can tell, see how it shows up darker than the first one. So you just have to, this is in fast motion, so it's actually drying pretty quickly. But I kept going back and going back on that bottom shadow until eventually I just had to give up on it because I just didn't have the patience for it. And so after I cut off the video, I went back and I used my Zero colorless blender, and I kind of wiped it all out and started over. And I just did it more slowly and methodically. There I go again. Okay. And then around the handle. Okay, so what I did with the mug then, this is all W's that I'm using right now. Now I'm going to take the C's, the C family. And C is a cool gray color, and I'm going to color right on top of the Pacific Point ink. And I used the, I think C6 first, which is the darkest color. Then I went in with some C4, and now I'm going in with C1. And I'm just creating some shadow right on top of the color. So it doesn't gray it out, but it just gives it just the right amount of shadowy darkness, so it looks like it's a round mug. And as you can see, it's the same thing here. You have to really let it dry for a minute before you can see what you've done, and then go back and apply some more color if you need it. Right now I'm peeling off my stickers here, and I'm just putting it on a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base, and I'm using glossy accents to make my peppermint stick shiny. And that's it, a pretty clean card with a lot of space on it this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.